So welcome to Inspiring Creativity. I thought we would do a fun project today, and I have some goodies from my yard and from some of the neighbors' yards that we are going to look at and use for inspiration for an art journal page. So first, for people who might watch this later, I am using a 9 by 12. It's a mixed media pad, and you can get these anywhere, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, Michael's, but I'm gonna go ahead and use this portrait. Instead of landscape, we're gonna do portrait. I am today. But that's just because I've had a little time to kind of think through what I'm gonna do. But the cool thing about this project is that it is meant to be spontaneous. It's meant to be fun. And the first step is to go around your yard and begin to collect 4 or 5, 3, 4, 5 objects from nature that just call you. It just calls out to you for some reason. You're drawn to it. And I'm going to show you some of mine that I collected today that I'm going to use to inspire this page. But before I do, I want to tell you too that there's a passage of scripture, and I've already forgotten exactly where it is, but it's in 2 Corinthians. And the Apostle Paul was talking to the Corinthians in a letter, and he was telling them that he was glad that he had a thorn in the flesh, and that God had told Paul, after Paul asked God 3 times to take the thorn in the flesh away, God basically said, I'm letting this thorn be here to buffet you because you've seen some incredible visions. The Lord had actually appeared to Paul out in the desert after he was converted. And the Apostle Paul had seen such incredible things and had been allowed into such a position to see these things that the Lord didn't want Paul to get proud and conceited. So this thorn in the flesh was allowed to buffet Paul, and the Lord basically said, in your weakness, I, the Lord, will make you strong. I will be your strength. And I just really like that passage. So that passage of scripture kind of went together in my mind with some of the objects in nature that I found, and it just all kind of came together. And I started to think about I started to kind of get an idea, and I just have an ant crawling across my page here because I got all these items from nature. Anyway, something congealed in my mind, and I'm going to go for it. But when you're doing your own, you're going to kind of go through some of these steps. Now, let me turn my camera around so you can actually see. Okay, let's get this out of here, and I'm going to turn the camera around. Okay, see all these beauties? Look at this stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and hang my camera up here, looking down, and I'll go through some of these objects with you. And I've got all sorts of wonderful little ants and all sorts of things. Okay, let me just check the computer real quick here. Okay, so I have gathered some sticks. I don't know why, I just thought these looked really cool. And so I've gathered myself some sticks, and then I have these beautiful, beautiful ferns. Look at these things. Aren't they spectacular? I just love these things. And they're growing under my deck. And I got 3 of them. And they're different sizes. I kind of purposely got one that was long, one that was a little bit medium, one was a little bit shorter. And I just love how they look together. Okay, let me set this bowl to the side. I'm just gonna lay these, and this is what you can do with your objects. Just get some paper towels or something and just start laying them out where you can see them. I love dandelions, I just do. I know that people don't care for them in their yard, but I love them, and I know they have medicinal properties. Dandelion greens as well as dandelions. Okay, let's see if I can find the next thing here. This is Just some really graceful, pretty leaves that I just liked the shapes of these leaves. So I'll just kind of set that up here, right there. This is, my mom told me when she was little in Michigan, they used to call these money, on a money tree, these cute little things. And I know they're seed pods and they fly to the ground and implant their seeds. But aren't these beautiful? Look at this. And the greens and the shape of these leaves. Aren't they spectacular? Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of set those right there. And then there was this little, I guess you'd call it a weed in my yard. And right now you can only see the leaves on it, but out in the yard it had these tiny little purple flowers, and it looks like they've fallen off somewhere and they are not showing themselves. Oh, here's one. Here's a tiny little purple flower that's kind of fallen off. I don't know if you guys can see that on my finger or not, but it's just this tiniest little beautiful purple flower. I'm just going to kind of set it there. I'm going to put these leaves back in the water. This is yet another maple leaf from the neighbor's yard. And then look at these. I love these. My wild strawberries. Aren't they cool? They're so cool. And the color in the grass, as I was walking through our grass, seeing these wild strawberries, the color just really grabbed my attention. And I kind of had this thought start to form in my head. And so I decided I'm gonna paint kind of some of these, and then after the painting is all done, I'm gonna kind of write some of the scripture verses that I was talking about earlier, just kind of write them in. But that's going to be after everything's done and dried. So what kind of started to happen in my brain was, and I'm going to keep these here because I want to look at them while I'm painting, is I started picturing just like this wild, meadow of grasses and these wild strawberries and these dandelions, and I just started to picture them kind of all in a composition. So I'm going to just start playing, and that's the whole point to these exercises, is just to get us playing. And it can be with paint, it can be with pencils, it can be with markers, watercolors, whatever you are drawn to use as your medium. So I'm going to set these to the side. Okay, so I've got to set these over here. Got to get my paper towels moved off in a different place here. Let's put these down here. And I'm going to just get rid of my sticks on the floor for right now. And I'll keep another paper towel ready. Let's move our art journal front and center. And the very first thing that I thought of was I want to do a little robin's egg blue. And I want to do it extremely watery, so I'm only putting a tiny, tiny drop. And I'm gonna get a nice big one, flat brush. I'm gonna get it super, super wet in my water over here, and I'm really gonna water this down. I mean, I want this almost like watercolor consistency. And I just want to kind of do this very light and breezy background. And I'm just going to keep dipping into my water. And I've already got some of my plants literally on my page. I don't quite need that like that. Let's move that out of there. So let's just keep this real nice and watery and just get some coverage. Just a very light background was kind of what I had in my mind. Something to just give the white page a little bit of color, really. Just very little color, too, not a ton of color. And I've run out of my mixture. So I'm gonna just pull that down as much as I can, a little bit lower on the page. Okay, and that's good enough. I'm not even gonna go, well, yeah, maybe I better put a little bit more. Let's put just a tiny smidgen bit more. And let's go ahead and go all the way down. Okay, so get that really watery and pull that down. This is so much fun. It's so relaxing. Sitting here looking at this bowl full of nature. God's creation is the most inspiring, awe-producing subject matter for me. Okay, so now that I've got that blue, really light, super light, but it's there. Okay, there. I'm gonna call that done for the background. I'm gonna kind of start thinking through just a little bit of where I want some things. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the Kelly green for the ferns. And I'm just gonna put an interpretation of the ferns in there. I do not want this exercise to take a long time and be very detailed. I just want to kind of give an impression. So these ferns kind of, you know, they kind of curve and they kind of have these very graceful lines. I'm gonna pull it down here, pull one up there. Let's pull that down and that down. Okay, and then these ferns, I'm just gonna kind of make some cross marks with this brush. And let's put some here. Just getting some stuff down. And then I'm gonna get a little bit of a shorter brush. So where, by shorter, I mean, what do I mean? That's not quite skinnier. It's not quite skinny enough. Maybe I'll go ahead and use this little tiny guy. Because I just want to get some of these fern shapes kind of up here. And then I'm gonna just take this shorter brush and just kind of pull in some roundness. And then we'll just kind of dab some little itty bitty leaves up at the top. There's a point, whoops, a point. My paint got really wet up here. Okay, so I'm just coming in and I'm kind of rounding off some of these fern leaves, making some of them nice and long, some of them a little shorter. I kind of want to put some right here. But the idea is, in your art journal, is to just get kind of an impression, a quick impression. This isn't meant to be something you're going to hang on your wall. I mean, you could if you wanted to, I suppose, but this is more meant just as a creative practice. I'm just kind of putting a little bit more beef on those fern leaves, beefing them up a little bit, adding some in here and there. I think I want some kind of coming here. And let's get some short ones up here. And I'm gonna beef up these, add some more right here. Okay, and let's add some more down here. I think that needs one. There was a gap that was a little bit kind of wide, so I'm just filling in some of the gaps now. Let's make these down here a little bit more pronounced. Okay, that's gonna be good enough for my ferns for the moment. And now I want to mix that Kelly green. So I'm gonna let's put my brush in the water. Let's get out some nice dark, this is Hauser dark green. So I'm gonna get a little bit of the dark green on my plate. I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this spring green, and I'm resorting to my craft paints today for the art journal. I have some Spanish olive. These are some fun little colors to work with. Every now and then, it is real, I must admit, craft paints, because they're already pre-mixed, they can be a lot of fun to just whip out in a quick manner. Oh, I know what I wanted to do with that Kelly green, I think. I can't get that red to come out. I may have to get a different red. Let's let that sit upside down. Okay, I have golden yellow. Okay, now that I've got some of these on my plate, I want to actually take out a dandelion. And actually the dandelion stem isn't that green, actually. It's more of like got some browns, some greens. It's quite a mixture. But I thought what I would do is kind of mix in just like a wild bouquet of botanicals, so to speak. So I'm going to get that brush that had the Kelly green on it, and I'm going to go into this Spanish olive, and I'm going to just kind of start throwing some daisy stems down here. I'm going to put one over here, and let's see, I may pull some in from the side, like they're kind of peeking their little heads in, trying to get noticed off the side of the page. So these are just dandelion stems, and I'm just going to kind of give a hint of some of their leaves down at the base of the stem. Just a hint. All right, some little dandelion leaves down there. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this small brush that I have. I'm going to rinse it off though first. And I'm just going to go straight into that, I think it was called golden yellow. And I'm just going to kind of try to get a hint at a dandelion. So I'm just kind of making some quick little strokes every which way. But they're pretty rounded. Like these dandelions kind of really did have a round shape to them. Okay, let's get another one in here. So just quick little letting them overlap there. This one won't overlap. This one's all by itself out here. So I just am feeling very relaxed. This is so relaxing, so calming. Doing it this way, just not worrying about making it for someone else, just making it for myself. Knowing that I'm going to write scripture verses on this later is just making it that much more that it's for me, that it's not something that I want to hang on my wall necessarily, or I could hang it on my wall if I wanted to remember the verses really well. Okay, so I'm kind of getting very quick with my dandelions here. Let's get some quick little strokes out for this one. Okay, now while those are there, I'm gonna go ahead and get into my Kelly green and mix that a little bit with that yellow that's on my brush. And under the dandelion, you know, there's kind of like this other green stuff going on. So I'm just gonna kind of try to hint at that. And it's just kind of coming in, you know, into the dandelion, and it's underneath it. And I'm just gonna pull kind of some of that color down into that stem, if I can. May not have enough on my brush. Okay, so I'm gonna move on from the dandelions to, let's just try to put some of these other leaves in here. So now I'm gonna grab this brush, this angled brush, and I'm gonna mix some of this dark Hauser green with that Kelly green that's still left on my plate, just to lighten it up a little bit. And this is the color of those really dark leaves I was showing you. They have, like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little points. But I'm gonna just, well, you know what? I am gonna grab this leaf. Whoops, I'm dropping dandelions all over the place. Let's get that back into the bowl. I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna try to get some of these in here. Just as decoration, like not like they're on a tree. And there's like a little point that kind of comes up and it kind of comes down, and then there's like another little point kind of that comes here. Okay, so I'm just kind of making some of these leaves as a decorative addition, shall we say. Okay, here's that other little point, and then it just kind of comes down to this kind of roundish thing. So there's one leaf. I'm gonna come in and water down that paint on my plate, and I'm gonna put another leaf kind of up here, just floating. Just kind of letting it float a bit. Let's pull that down, and then we've got our other little point down here, and then it kind of is just, there's something about just painting actual things that you've collected in nature and having them right in front of you that's just so calming. So very calming. Okay, let's get that painted in a little bit. And that was a little bit, I need to pull that up a little bit, make it a little bit taller. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my little brush, and I really wanna put like a little stem on there and just have like a nice curved stem, and it's just gonna kind of curve back around down here, and we'll leave those there. I might switch now. Let's switch. I'm gonna switch and make the leaves that are, let me show them to you, this shape now. So I'm gonna actually go into a completely different color. I'm gonna go into this light color, and I'll let the stuff that's on my brush kind of mix with it so it's not quite so light. In fact, let's scoop up some of that dark stuff and pull it in here. Darken it up just a wee bit. And now I'm just gonna kind of come in and pull in some of those leaves. So I kind of wanted to have them floating in from above. Okay, let's get a third one. And I'm just basically filling this page with leaves. Got some dandelions. I want to add in my strawberries. Okay, let's get some more of those leaves down here. And I'm just going to bring them right over the top of the stem of that one. Let's pull another one in. We're going to just pull it right over the top. And let's do, pretending that there's a stem there. There's a stem there. Let's pull one in. I really want to have a third one. I love working in threes. Where do I want to put that third one? Right here. And I'm going to pretend like it's going behind that leaf right there. So there's a little stem coming down from way up there. Okay, so we've got 3 here, got 3 here. Do I want any more anywhere else? I don't think so. I think I'm going to pull another one of the dark ones in. So let's see. That was my dark Hauser green. And I'm just going to go ahead and mix it right up here. Because if it's a little different color, that's okay. And let's just kind of, let's float one in from the top. So I'm just going to kind of float it in. Oops, boy, my brain is not remembering how to make the shape when I have it turned upside down here. Isn't that funny? I may have to turn this. Let's turn this. Okay, there. I have to help my brain out a little bit. So let's put our little points here and then kind of round them out a little bit. Okay, so we've got our start, and then we've got to have a point down here, point here, and it's kind of rounded in between. And these need to be a little bit sticking out a little bit more. Okay, yeah, that's a little better. Okay, and then again, I'm gonna take this other skinny little brush and just give a nice little stem there. So that's my third one of those. Okay, now I want to flip it back around and kind of see where things are heading. Definitely want to get some stems going up there on those lighter leaves. So let's pull that in. So there's our little stems for those. I've got my stems down here. I'm going to go into this dark Hauser green and mix it with that lighter green. And I'm just going to kind of flick some little grassy type things down here at the base of the painting, just to give some idea that there's other grasses down here for these dandelions. Okay, let's get into the yellow. Let's pull some of, oh, that's a nice bright, that makes a really bright, pretty color. Just adding a little bit of yellow to that. Yeah, in fact, I like that a lot. I think I'm actually gonna kind of put some of that down solidly. Just a little base for the dandelions there. Okay, so we've got our little dandelion composition going. We've got leaves floating in from wherever. Maybe I'll do a little corner of that color. Just kind of Now I'm just kind of playing. I'm just really playing with filling the page kind of with some different colors, but keeping it, I kind of want to keep it light and like almost like a background situation. So just really light and kind of filling in. Okay, let's see if I want to, I'm going to pull in, where's my white? I'm going to pull in some white. Okay, come on, white. There we go. Pull in a little white. Okay. Just want to soften those edges on that. It's kind of like an antique-y edge to the page. And I'm just going to kind of pull that down around. And up here, just kind of adding in some of that around the corners. Just like a little bit of a framing background. And I'm running out of paint. Just kind of scruffing it in there a little bit. And I gotta come back in here with some white and lighten this corner up. It got a little bit too dark. Lighten up this. Maybe I'll even throw some white in here in a few spots, just to brighten up the blades of grass in a few spots. I'm just having fun. Just having fun. Now there are some veins on these leaves, but they are very light, extremely light, thin, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna see if I can't give a little tiny thin line right down the center of each of these really green leaves. And then it kind of has a pronounced one from here and here. So we'll do our little line here and our little line here. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and pull one from this side too, because why not? Okay, so let's pull this line, pull a line from there. It just adds a little something, I think, a little more fun to the leaf. Now there's all these other little veins that you could hint at if you wanted, that kind of come off the main one. So I'm just gonna hint at some of them. Okay, there, got a little hint of them. Now let me switch over to this leaf. And this leaf also has a line, but since these are so light, I might go ahead and go into my dark green, and just to have some contrast, just kind of pull a line in. Okay, I'm just gonna pull one line of that darker green into each of these lighter leaves. And then I'm going to kind of revisit my dandelions a little bit. I kind of want to, almost want to darken. Let's see, I need to get the water off my brush, and I need to kind of find a place on my plate. Let's move some of this yellow over here. And I want to get a little bit of that dark Hauser green, and just see if I can get a little bit of a darker yellow, like a dirty yellow, and just in a few spots, kind of put that darker yellow in those dandelions. It's not really doing much. It's very watery. Okay, I don't need to. I'm gonna let that be. I might pull more yellow in though. Just like dab some really thick dabs of the yellow back into each little frond here. The dandelions are so cute. Dandelions are pretty. So I'm just trying to spark up that color a little bit, really is all I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna turn my attention back to my strawberries because I really wanted my strawberries in here somewhere. So I need to figure out where, first of all, I've got to see if I can get my red to come out onto my plate. I just want to figure out where I want them. Oh, goodness. We got way too much. Oh, well, that's okay. Let's find a small stubby brush, very stubby. And I'm going to pull in strawberries just kind of in a few places, almost like they're growing in off the side of the page. And they're literally like a little strawberry shape, but like extremely tiny. Okay, there's 3. Let's pull 3 down here. Let's pull 1 strawberry right over the top of that leaf there. And we'll pull 1 right down to the edge of the page. And then I think I need to have 1 there and 1 there, maybe 1 down here. So I'm just getting my red in, and then I'm going to come back with that smaller flat brush. I'm going to get some green. Now what kind of green? Let's pull a strawberry back out here. Okay, well this strawberry, the stuff started to die, so it's very brown. So it's gonna be a dark green. So I think I'm gonna go for this Hauser green. I need to pull a little bit more of that Hauser green in here. I only need a tiny little dab. A dab will do ya. A dab will do ya. Okay, so first of all, let's give these little cute little strawberries their cute little stems. I'm just going to pretend like they're just down here in the grasses, hanging out with everything else. These are just kind of floating in from the side. Okay, so we'll get our stems first. Got 3 more to go down here. And then I'm just going to put a little hint of those leaves at the base of each strawberry. Like it's kind of like it's cupping it. Okay, where's my Hauser green? There it is. Okay. And so let's do these down here first, okay? Grab that, pull it up. Kind of to the side and up the center a little bit, to the side, center, and then we'll get some fresh paint and pull this one right out here, that one there, that one kind of up. Same thing here, just kind of creating this little cupping, nesting bit of green. Okay, that's plenty for the strawberries. So now this kind of leaves plenty of room for me to write my scripture verses, and I'll probably be writing them like all over, you know, just wherever I feel like trailing around. And so I'm going to leave this the way that it is. I'm just going to let it dry really, really good. And then let's see, I'll show you. I have these acrylic paint markers, and the colors are pretty typical, you know, colors. There is a gold one, which I like a lot. There's silver, there's green, pink, red. Ooh, I kind of wonder. Red might be too shocking. So I could go one of two ways. I could go with like a muted gold, which, you know, that's kind of calming against, you know, with the greens and the blues. Or I could, to really pull that red from the berries up, I could do it in red. So I'm going to take a vote and let's see what you think. Which one should I use to write? Should I use the bright, vibrant red or the calming gold? And I'll just kind of wait to see what you say. I'm going to move some stuff around here and let's see if I can't look up here at my... Sherry says, I can see how this can be relaxing to do. Yes, it is. It's so relaxing. You can just breathe and just enjoy. Okay, let's see. Does anybody have a vote? Gold or red? And for those of you who watch this on the replay on YouTube, the reason I'm taking a vote is because I'm doing this video live in a private Facebook group, and I just download the replay later into YouTube. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just call this done, and I will write in all my verses later and take a picture of it. So let's get the camera down, and I'll just kind of come up a little bit closer. You can see those little strawberries, dandelions, ferns, and then let's just flip around here so that I can say goodbye. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. And I do have a website that has blog articles on it if you want to go ever read the blogs, and I put my artwork along with the articles at sherryjoycollier.com. And I also have an email newsletter I send out once a week, and I write. I love to write. I've always been kind of a bit of a writer, so I love to write about what God is teaching me through His Word, and I usually pair it with painting or a little collage or some piece of artwork that I've done that kind of pairs well with the scriptures. So if you want to follow along, you can sign up on my website for the newsletter. There is a freebie. There's a couple freebies under the merchandise tab of my shop on Shopify, which is sherryjoycollier.com. And under that tab, you can choose whichever freebie you want. You'll have to scroll through and look for the ones that say $0. That's the freebie. And when you sign up for a freebie, you'll automatically get my once a week email newsletter. So I invite you to do that. And again, thanks for watching. I hope you do something with your nature items and take a picture and put it in the group and show me later. Okay? Have a good day. Bye-bye.